Okay, back out in the greenhouse. It's Easter, April something, 4th maybe, 2021. We had our quick log for today. So I did buy some bulb onions, just to get some onions for early season here in the cold frame or hoop house, like a greenhouse that we built last year. Everything's going really well. Out here, got good spinach and lettuce coming in. The peas are doing really well. Those are the collards, beets. I planted kale between the rows from here on over just to get some extra greens. Cleaning up the 2 big beds. They're 8x4s. We have a mite problem, so we're going to be spreading DE down. I'm trying to show you some of the mites. Let's see if I can find some. I just moved some of this dirt, so there's a lot of movement in here right now. I don't know if you'll be able to see these or not. They're little white mites, so we will be putting the DE down. It won't hurt the worms. Can hurt bees, so we'll do it early season. So right now, not many bees are out anyways, so should be safe there. And we are in our hoop house, so the only thing we open right now is that door, small door. Nothing's flowering in here to draw them in. So yeah, so these 2 beds will get DE. We'll probably do a couple different treatments. It looks like within 48 hours of the mites coming in contact with it, then they should die. And then we might have to wait another week and do another treatment. We'll do that all before we even probably do the fertilizer or anything else. I think you can do them all at the same time, but we're not in a crazy rush yet to get these beds started. These will be hot peppers, and I'll probably do 1 or maybe 2 tomatoes like we did last year in this bed, or one of the beds. The other thing I wanted to give an update on was our first try at doing a vermicompost, a worm compost. So one thing to note is that we've seen a huge, I just moved a bag here. We've seen a huge increase in worms on this bed, where I haven't seen the same increase in the bed we haven't put the vermicompost in yet. So if I dig down, I should find a couple, but nowhere near the amounts of worms that we saw in the other bed. There's a couple in there. So that's pretty interesting to see. I'm not sure if it really is in fact the vermicompost that we're doing, but basically we don't have a lot of scraps right now that were good, but as the season progresses, these will be good tools for us. But we have a little bit of the straw, not hay, just straw, on top, and then underneath that is where I put squash and lettuce that we had that went bad, and the worms will start breaking this stuff down very quickly. So pretty much just dump in some extra tomato, put the stuff back over, probably even just grab some soil, dump some more soil over the top of it. Worms like it dark, obviously, so that will be good. And I kind of push it down and close it up. Before I close it up, one thing I should be able to show you here is somewhere here, there are holes throughout. I don't know if you can see this down there. There's holes all the way through around the bucket. And then there's holes over the bottom, or down through the bottom. So the worms can actually go in and out, which I thought was really cool concept for this. So as the worms come in to eat, then they go out into the beds. They will spread the worm compost, worm droppings, out in the bed, as well as the worm tea will drain out into the bed and from the worms, right? Because that's worm pee, which is a really high nutrient. So first off, I'm really excited that I'm already seeing an uptick in worm count on this bed. And this has only been, 2 or 3 weeks that we've had this in. And the worms will actually populate based on the food source. So if we're good and we keep on feeding this bucket with our leftovers, and then this bed should have a lot more worms. So eventually I will get, I might do 2 and try to do 2 different ones here. And then the garlic bed will wait until probably next year to add one in for that. But I am really excited. You know, it's something new to try and test, and hopefully I don't kill the worms. Right now I actually only populated it with the worms that were already in the bed. But you are supposed to get red wigglers, I guess. I just don't know, one, if they're native up here in Mass. I haven't done any of that research, and I'd rather try to keep with only bringing in native items or species, like our ladybugs and things like that we use to control our aphids. So, yeah. The other thing I'm doing is soaking strawberry roots. So we went and we bought about two packs of $6 strawberry roots, 10 each. So this is a 10 root plants. Soaking it for half an hour, it's about ready. Then we'll separate the roots, and then we'll plant between the garlic. This pairing, the research I've done on this, says that it's going to be really good for mites, for making sure the garlic doesn't get eaten. So these 2 strawberries, this one here and this one over here, I trimmed down. These were leftover strawberry plants I bought towards the end of strawberry season last year, and put them in the greenhouse and potted them actually in this pot right here, and they just kept going. They're not really big strawberries, but they were kind of fun to have as a snack every time you walk in the greenhouse. So I've put them now in with the garlic after my research of companion planting, and I'm now going to plant even more strawberries. See, they're All-Star is the name of them. So I'm going to plant these throughout the garlic right now, which is great. So that's the update for here in Massachusetts. April 4th, I think it is. It's Easter Sunday. And we're sitting at about 80 degrees in the greenhouse, pretty consistently actually. I had the other temperature controller on earlier, and that also said it, I think 82 degrees. So pretty consistent with the door open. Just curiosity, this is the temp monitor we're doing. You can set alerts on your phone app for high and lows, and it will ping you to remind you to open up the greenhouse when we need to. It also has a controller so that you can plug in a fan or the heater into that. Right now we have the heater actually plugged in separately, but we're kind of lucky because we do have the solar on the garage that produces a lot more than what we're using right now, so we don't mind actually running the heater at night as we're getting cooler. I think it was about 21 was a low last night here in Mass at our house outside, and the greenhouse temperature thermometer, which I have back here. It's just on the shelf. It's in the shade space, kind of a couple feet off the ground. That said the low was 33. So definitely working having the heater in here. And we've had no damage to the plants. We do use the frost cloth for everything over here on this side. The garlic doesn't need the frost cloth, and actually it likes getting cold. I guess that's what triggers the bulbing for the garlic from what I've learned so far. So we'll be planting the strawberries and the garlic. We'll be moving the rest of these onion starts that we had in the basement. They didn't do amazing my first year doing onion starts. So we'll be moving those in here as well. These were the two we moved in last week. They had no issues getting moved out without hardening them off. So that was something I've kind of experimented with. Onions like so much sun and they were under a very close light in the basement. So we actually worked out pretty good there. I did plant and start some extra onions that are starting to come up here. They're a little late seed starts. And then I also bought some dried ones and the bulbs, which I planted in here. So we'll see how it's going here in a few weeks. That'll be the telling sign. But having this as an early spring bed is going to be really fun for greens and peas. And I think once the peas go by, then I'll probably put beans in this spot here on the north wall. So that is a very long-winded update, but a lot going on as we get to spring. The other thing I don't think I showed you for the log was our cucumbers. So some of them did get a little bit cold, but for the most part, they're actually doing okay. These are summer squash here and cucumbers here. So I'm doing a test. I started those from seed in the basement. Doing a test to see how well they will do being out this early for Zone 5B. They probably shouldn't really even be planted until maybe another 2 weeks from now for starting seeds, let alone being brought out here in the hoop house. So kind of a fun year, doing a lot of experimenting, trying to learn a lot as we go, and I'll keep updating on how the vermicompost goes, but totally excited to see this much worm activity.